Welcome to the London School of English live stream. I'm Tom Bартон and I'm here at the London School of English Lviv. Good evening, hello, and dobro večer. Today, I'm going to be telling you about the communicative approach, how you can use it in everyday life to increase your speaking communication skills, and how we use it here at the London School of English. I'm going to tell you about the central philosophy behind all of our lessons, all of our approaches, and exactly what we think is the key to learning English. Good evening, Oksana. Hello from Lutsk. Natalia, welcome. Thank you for joining us, guys. Thank you. Okay, so what is the central, fundamental principle behind everything that we do at the London School of English? Any ideas? Well, I can tell you. It's the communicative approach. Communicative language learning. That is what we do here. Hi, Luliana. And what we're going to do here is tell you exactly what it is, how we use it, and some advice for using it. So firstly, what is the communicative approach? The communicative approach was developed in 1970 by a guy called Halliday, and he had a central principle for language learning. And rather than tell you what that is, I'm going to show you exactly what that is. So, I'm going to show you an example of what happens if you don't use the communicative approach. Here we have a student. This is Kate. Now, Kate is studying the second conditional. She's studying very hard. She's learning the rules. She's understanding the rules. And she's learning the form, how to form it. She's learning how to use it and when. She's understanding it very well. Kate, do you understand the rule? Fantastic. Good student. Now, many lessons would stop there. The student has understood the second conditional, she knows when to use it, and she's understood how to form it. If plus past, would plus infinitive. Fantastic. Now, many lessons might think that's enough. Success. The lesson has been successful. However, do you think Kate can use it? She's never practiced it. Just because she got the exercise correct, she's shown me that she understands the rule, does that mean that she can use it in a real life situation? I would say no. So even though she might have 10 out of 10 on the exercise, when she goes out in real life, she can't use it, she can't speak. Because I'm going to give you some news, guys. When you go to England, when you go abroad, when you visit Great Britain and you arrive at Heathrow Airport, people don't come to you with grammar exercises, they speak to you, they communicate with you. So what we do at the London School of English is the communicative approach, which means that we teach you the rule, we teach you the form, but that's not where the lesson finishes. The key part of the lesson is this.
So how would your life change if you got the job?
Oh, I think it would change dramatically. I would just travel abroad and I would have more money and I would be just generally happier. What do you think?
Okay, fantastic. Good teaching, guys. Now, what we've got there is that Kate's not only learnt the rule, not only understood it, but now she's actually using it. She's activating her language and using it to communicate. Why does this help? Firstly, by actually speaking it, it helps her to remember it. By using real examples from her own life, it helps her to understand it. And by actually practicing and using it to communicate, she's actually helping to achieve her actual goal, which is not to understand the grammar, but to actually be able to use it in real life situations, in international business meetings, in meeting native speakers, on the internet and in face-to-face. This is what she needs to do, and this is what she does in the classroom. The means and the ends are the same. They are both based around communication. The goal is communication, and the way to get there is communication. Juliana's saying it also helps to recycle learnt vocab. That's an excellent point, Juliana. It does. Speaking and practicing helps her to learn and remember what she's also done before. This is why it's so essential to communicate in the classroom and actually speak. This is what we do at the London School of English. If somebody said to me one sentence to describe what we do, I would say this. We want you to use the language, not just be able to understand what it means. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of history of why it's important. Those of you in Ukraine, coming from Odessa, Lviv, Kiev, maybe some around the places, Kharkiv, I don't know who else we've got here, you might think that 20 years ago here in Lviv, maybe you didn't need to speak English. Maybe there wasn't lots of Brits and expats and natives in Lviv 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You didn't maybe need to speak English. There wasn't so much internet, video calls, things like this. Zoom, Skype didn't exist. So maybe we had different methods of learning, what we might call the grammar translation method. The idea that you would learn English and then learn how to translate it. Now, 30 years ago, that was quite a good method, because most of the English that you would come across in your daily life would probably be in books. So it would be more useful to learn how to translate it as opposed to speak. Nowadays, in 2021, it is completely different. Hello, Scott Howland in Odessa. News and views. Now, we nowadays need to communicate much more, or just as much as we need to read. People are traveling more. People are speaking on online conferences more. People are coming into contact with people from different countries much, much more. English is becoming the lingua franca, and this is why it's so important now that when you learn English, you learn how to communicate, not just understand the rule, but be able to use it. Now, I'm going to give you my 3 best tips for how you can communicate in real life. Okay, not only in the classroom in London School of English, but also in real life. Now, my first tip is this. You want to be good communicators? This is the first thing that you should do. Hello, Odessa. Hello, Kiev. Oh, wonderful people. Thank you for joining us. Here's my first tip. Take responsibility. I've just read that's the wrong way around in the camera. I'll read it to you. Take responsibility. My first piece of advice is that you need to take responsibility for your own learning. You need to realize that the only way in which you're going to learn English is if you want to. You need to realize that your success or failure depends on you. Just coming to the classroom isn't going to be enough. The teachers, myself, Liam, who you saw there, many of the wonderful teachers around the country, can only show you the door, but you have to walk through it. You have to realize that if you want to learn, you need to make sure that you are the one that's really taking responsibility for your own language learning. How can you do that? Well, let me tell you. The next piece of advice would be use it 3 times. What does this mean? Well, I can tell you this. When you learn a new piece of language, whether that might be a piece of lexis, vocabulary, some phrasal verbs, or as we saw with our student here, Kate, some grammar, like the second conditional, you need to use that piece of language 3 times in context before you do something what we call acquire it. Acquire it means when you can actually use it naturally when you need to. You could say you've added it to your language bubble. Okay? If you use it 3 times, you are going to remember it. If you learn a piece of grammar, you never use it. You never practice it. Oh, we've got somebody from Brazil. Hello, Karina Chavez Santos. Welcome. Hola. Oh, is that Spanish? Sorry. You will forget it if you don't use it. You will forget it. If you use it 3 times, it should stay with you forever. So that's what you need to do. When you learn a new word, when you learn new grammar, you make sure that you use it the next time you speak. And you use it the next time you speak after that again. Then you use it the 3rd time and it's yours forever. So it doesn't matter if the person listening to you wants to hear the second conditional. If you've just learnt it, you make sure that you find a way to use it the next time you speak, in your next lesson, in your next text chat, in your next conversation with a native speaker, or at work, or whatever. You find a way to use it because you are, going back to point 1, taking responsibility for your own actions. Okay, now, my last and final piece of advice to you would be this. Do not worry about making mistakes. Many people do not like to communicate, or maybe they're afraid of communication because they think, oh, I'll make a mistake, people laugh at me, I'm not good enough. That is not the way to learn. It doesn't matter if you're talking about getting fit, playing sport, art, or language learning. You need to make mistakes in order to learn. Making mistakes, not only is it not bad, it's a good thing. It's a way for you to learn. It's a way for you to get better. Do not be afraid of making mistakes. Every single person when they speak English sometimes makes a mistake. I've probably made some myself in this video here. Nobody expects you to speak perfect English. The key is communication. If you have communicated your message, it's successful. At the end of the day, think about this. What's the most important thing for you to do? To communicate with more people around the world? To be able to communicate what you're thinking to somebody else? Or to speak perfect English grammatically? The first one is much more important. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Get out there and communicate and use the communicative approach by taking responsibility for your learning, by using the language that you learn 3 times naturally in context, practicing all the time, and by speaking with confidence and not worrying about little mistakes that you make. They will improve the more you practice. Now, here from the London School of English, I'd like to say thank you to everybody joining us. Next Monday, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the communicative approach and other ways in which you can improve your communication. So, guys, I just want to say thanks to everybody for coming. Here in the London School of English, in Odessa, in Kiev, and in Lviv. Also, our online Zoom classes are available for students all around the world, especially around Ukraine, but anywhere really. You can come and practice your communication with us. You will learn grammar, you will learn vocabulary, but we will make sure the next step is the important step that you take, which is you learn to use it. Guys, happy communication. Make sure that you take responsibility, use it 3 times, and I'll see you next Monday. Be good communicators. Guys, see you later.